What were the hotel accommodations for the Raiders on the road? Do you remember any places that were just not good situations?
Golly, I remember. It was interesting because Diane was up in Buffalo this weekend for the Patriots game, and I remember back then, back in 1992, the accommodations, particularly when it was cold, the wind would literally blow right through the doors in the hotel room, and they gleefully would call you for your 6 a.m. wake-up call. Good morning, it's 6 a.m. This is your wake-up call forecast for 25 below with the wind chill today. That was the call you got in Buffalo. Green Bay was like that, too.
Worst conditions you ever played in?
Green Bay and Buffalo, my final year. The Green Bay game was the game where the Lambeau Leap took its first flight.
Oh, really?
I think it was Leroy Butler.
Yeah.
And really cold. It was much like the NFC Championship game that we covered up there when the Giants upset the Packers on their way to what many consider to be as big a Super Bowl upset, along with the Patriots versus the Rams and Colts and all that.
Did you go sleeveless when it was really cold?
No, I don't think so. Not when it was that kind of cold. That's the kind of cold where if you leave your dog or your child out for a half hour, they lock you up. They lock you up, Dan.
But you didn't do that. You didn't do that.
No,
okay.
No. I wore my last year, if I knew then what I know now kind of thing, I wore scuba gloves and I wore a spring suit for anyone who in your group there that surfs or body surfs. It's the one that goes down just to your biceps and mid-thigh.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked great. Now, the only thing is your face and your feet. By the time you get on the plane, plus I had a fractured hand in 5 places, and the flight home was, let's play the game of how can we kill the pain.
So you had a couple of drinks?
A couple of everything, Dan.
Yeah. Did any of your guys...
And it didn't work.
Did any of your guys ever drink before games?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. When it's cold out like that, the last thing you're worried about is who's drinking. It's, you could stand outside the locker room and, kind of go, well, he's going to play. Nope, he's not going to play. He's going to play. That bench, as kind of the early versions of the warm bench were not great.
Yeah.
It was either or. You either didn't get any heat or your feet were on fire. So it was a little bit of both. But what an interesting weekend, huh?
I know. It's been great. We're, by the way, talking to Howie Long, the Hall of Famer, NFL and Fox analyst. Does Cam Newton have a point here, Howie, is he officiated, looked at differently?
I think in some cases he is. When he's in the pocket, I think there are some cases where he does. And I think it's the Shaquille O'Neal effect. And they've used that analogy before down there in Carolina. And you've been around Cam, right?
Yes.
You've walked up on Cam. You walk up on Cam, it's almost like you have Tourette's. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
You're a big son of a... He is just enormous. And I think, whether... I don't think it's consciously. I think it's something that the officials are doing, without thinking about it. It's... Well, he's big. He can take that kind of hit. Whereas if it's Brady, if it's Breeze, if it's, fill-in-the-blank quarterback. Now, yesterday there were probably 2 hits that should have been flagged. The Calais Campbell hit, low, probably should have been hit. And the play where he kind of flushes out to his left and gets hit, and it seemed like it took forever for the guy to slam him on the ground. That, to me, was a little bit much. Now, when Cam pulls the ball down, all bets are off. And Cam has said, that's part of my game. And that is part of his game. But I've said this. I think putting on a Russell Wilson demo tape, and, they've got the Manning camp. I'm going to open up a camp for quarterback sliding. I'll make millions because half of them can't. And it's so much more difficult for someone who's 6'5", 6'6", to get down quickly versus Russell, who's 5'11", to get down quickly. Russell gets down quicker, takes fewer hits. And Cam, how many times have you seen Cam finish a drive head first, finish a run head first? That's on Cam. And it's, Dan, it's just a matter of time. You're around Rodney. You're around players.
Yeah.
You're around coaches. They will get you.
Yes.
They will get you. It's just a matter of time. If I hit you with a hammer enough, you will blink. It's just a question of time. That's all.
How did Alex Smith get cleared to go back in after the first hit when he banged his head on the turf, and he's stumbling like Mike Tyson looking for his mouthpiece against Buster Douglas?
Yeah, and now I think, obviously for a number of reasons. The league has, I think, genuine concern about head trauma, and there's also existing or any future litigation. So, I think there'll be an adjustment made because of that, although I think it's an anomaly. I'm not sure who is clearing him. Was it Mick?
They said independent.
Yeah, was it Mick? Did he just cut me, Mick?
I don't know, but he came back. At least wait until after halftime to bring him back to make, give the perception that he's gone through concussion protocol. But
and the visual optics are not great.
No.
When somebody, we've all seen it where a player, and I've been there. I got hit one time at the end of a San Diego game. I think I hit Chuck Muncie on the goal line, and for those of you who don't remember Chuck Muncie, he was a big man. I woke up in my locker. I don't remember. Dan, I lost, and I call it losing time. It's one thing where, you get the cartoon thing where, the sparkles and, and all
the birds are chirping.
And it's true. It's just whoever did that in the cartoon had been knocked out because they got it right. But there's another part of it is, who are you and what am I on the third down package? Am I on the punt coverage team? And the other one is, which is scary, is where you lose time. I remember waking up in the San Diego locker room down there, and I'm like, how did I get in here? I didn't go down. I don't think I went. I know I didn't go down because no one helped me off the field. I just followed the group. I was like a lemming going off the side of a cliff.
If I gave you a do-over, would you have retired earlier?
No, I think where I was at that point, when I retired,
you were 33.
34, January 6th of my final year. So I played in the Pro Bowl at 34 that year, and I thought, you know what? I'm held together with duct tape and glue. I've been, shot up maybe 8 games that year, 7. For me to be able to do what I did at the level that I wanted to do it at, it was too much. And Chris was 8 years old. Kyle was 5 or 4, and Howie was 3. I didn't know which day at school was burger day. I was so obsessed with what I was doing. It was time, and I'm glad I made that decision when I did, because it gave me the opportunity to coach Little League Baseball for 8 years, high school football for 8 years, and be a part of that and watch them grow and enjoy them. So it was the right time for me.
Well, it's good to catch up with you as always, and have fun this weekend with the Raiders and Broncos, and hopefully we'll catch up with you soon.
How about the Raiders?
I'm all in on them.
23 penalties, 200 yards.
Yeah.
On the road. Damn the Torpedoes.
They're back, Howie. 23 penalties.
It's fun. Hey,
they're
Dan,
back.
It's been a long time coming, but it's fun.
Thanks, bud. Talk to you soon.
Right,
that's Howie Long, NFL on Fox.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.